A very good evening and welcome to the Bulletin at 9 with the Sentinel. I'm Moinitham. And here are the top headlines at this hour. Member of Parliament's salaries cut by 30% for a year. Parliament passes bill, move to help government stride over the COVID exigencies. Sizable Naga population facing anxiety, mental health issues, says government survey. Assam Education Department announces schedule for classes 9 to 12 as schools to reopen from September 21. And here are the top stories from the day today. First, of course, is news from the Parliament. The Parliament today passed a bill that has reduced salaries of all members of Parliament by 30% to meet the exigencies arising out of COVID-19 pandemic. Rajya Sabha passed the salary allowances and pension of members of Parliament Amendment Bill 2020. It was cleared by Lok Sabha on Tuesday. The bill was introduced in the upper house by Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi on Thursday, and the upper house also passed the Salaries and Allowances of Ministers Amendment Bill 2020, which proposes to reduce the salaries and allowances of ministers by 30% for a year. Of course, this is once again these steps being taken so that the government can take care of the financial requirement to meet the outstandings there as far as the treatment and facilities for COVID-19 is concerned. So the money that the government is going to save by these moves would go towards creating funds for the availability of treatment, for the availability of health infrastructure to fight COVID. Now, Minister of State for Home G. Kishan Reddy had moved the bill regarding the Salaries and Allowances of Ministers Amendment Bill 2020, and both the bills were taken up simultaneously and passed by voice vote. So a big move there coming from the central government and the Parliament. They actually deciding to slash salaries of members of Parliament by 30% for a year so that the government is able to meet all the necessary payments that needs to be done, the spendings that the government has to do at this point of time to take care of the COVID situation in the country. Of course, needless to say, the numbers are rising and the requirement for improving health infrastructure is growing by the day. The requirement for additional ICU beds, requirement for oxygen, everything now taking the priority, and therefore the government deciding on this particular move in the Parliament. Now, moving on to news from Nagaland, there has been a government survey that has been done by the Nagaland Health and Family Welfare Department, and according to this particular survey, a sizable amount of the population of the state are suffering from insomnia, anxiety, and depression, and this is primarily because of the ongoing COVID situation. In fact, most of the people have been facing issues like these. The lockdown has hugely impacted the mental health of majority of the people. Now, the online mental health and psychological well-being survey was conducted between June 12th and July 15th in the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic. Altogether, 1,127 people were there who participated in this particular online mental health survey conducted by the Health and Family Welfare Department of Government of Nagaland. Statistical analysis showed that women and respondents with high fear for COVID-19 were found to have significantly higher risk of experiencing insomnia, anxiety, depression, and somatic symptoms. Also, people in urban areas and people who perceive to have moderate or high risk of exposure to COVID-19 at workplace had significantly higher risk of experiencing insomnia. People below 30 years of age and those with educational qualification below graduation had significantly higher risk of experiencing depression. Frontline workers like both medical and non-medical had lower risk of experiencing depression. That is something very, very interesting that has come out in this survey, that frontline workers, they are at a lower risk of experiencing depression. Other factors like marital status, living with family, or staying alone did not significantly affect the risk of experiencing the common mental health conditions assessed in this particular survey. So, like we believe that if you stay alone, you might feel more depressed or you might face some kind of anxiety, at least this particular survey has said that these kind of situation has not impacted many people in the state of Nagaland. But yes, of course, the risk factor remains. The mental health status of a person, of course, depends on how many friends you have, books around you, and also good channels to watch. Coming to news from Assam, the Secondary Education Department of Assam has notified the standard operating procedures or SOPs for reopening of schools, and these SOPs are specifically about classes 9 to 12. Now, the schools are to reopen from September 21, but it is only for classes 9 to 12. The SOP will be operative for a period of 15 days. After 15 days, the Department of Education of Assam will revise the standard operating procedures on the basis of how the first 15 days transpire. Now, as per the new SOP, classes only from 9 to class 12 will remain open and all other classes will remain suspended. For the students of class 9 and class 12, the classes will be conducted on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For classes 10 and 11, it will be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. All these details, viewers, are in fact available on our website, sentinelassam.com. The complete story is there. Please log on to our website, sentinelassam.com, and you will have the entire SOP there that has been issued by the State Education Department. This is in relation to schools opening. Like I mentioned, according to the fresh SOP, it's only classes 9 to 12 which would be open from September 21st. The remaining of the classes, the school continues to remain shut. Now, this is something that the Assam Chief Minister, Sarbananda Sonowal, wants our farmers, particularly those farmers who are involved in bamboo farming, bamboo cultivation. This is what he wants them to do. He said today that there is an increasing demand as far as bamboo products are concerned, and the demand for bamboo products is significantly rising across the world. There is a $60 billion market out there waiting for our farmers to be tapped, and that is exactly what the Chief Minister wants our farmers to do. He has said that the farmers should actually avail all the facilities, all the schemes that the government has announced for bamboo farmers. He wants every farmer to avail all of those benefits and go out and tap the huge market that is lying there for them. Let's listen in to what the Chief Minister had to say today on World Bamboo Day.
বিশ্ব বাঁহ দিৱস ইয়াৰ উপলক্ষে মই অসমৰ যিসকলে বাঁহ খেতি কৰে সেই খেতিয়কসকললৈ মই আন্তৰিক অভিনন্দন জ্ঞাপন কৰিছোঁ। আৰু বিশ্বৰ বজাৰত এতিয়া বাঁহৰ চাহিদা বৃদ্ধি পাইছে। আপোনালোকে জানে ইয়াৰ পৰা উৎপাদিত সামগ্ৰীবিলাকে বিশ্বৰ মানৱ সমাজৰ দৃষ্টি আকৰ্ষণ কৰিছে আৰু দিনক দিনে চাহিদা বাঢ়িছে। আৰু ৱৰ্ল্ড মাৰ্কেটখনৰ যিটো ভেলু বাঁহৰ পৰা উৎপাদিত সামগ্ৰীৰ প্ৰায় $60 বিলিয়ন। গতিকে এই সুযোগটো আমি ল'ব লাগিব। গতিকে অসমৰ বুকুত অসমৰ বৰাক ব্ৰহ্মপুত্ৰ পাহাৰ ভৈয়ামৰ ৩৬খন জিলাত মই আহ্বান জনাইছোঁ বাঁহৰ খেতিৰ প্ৰতি যাতে সকলোৱে বিশেষ গুৰুত্ব প্ৰদান কৰক। আৰু এতিয়া যিহেতুকে আমাৰ বেম্বো মিছনৰ যোগেদি আমি বিভিন্ন যুৱক যুৱতীসকলক খেতিয়কসকলক আহ্বান জনাইছোঁ তেখেতসকলে আমাৰ চৰকাৰে লোৱা যিবিলাক নীতি আৰু যিবিলাক ৰাজ সাহায্যৰ ইয়াৰ সুযোগ লওক বাঁহ তেখেতসকলে নাৰ্চাৰী কৰক বাঁহ উৎপাদন কৰক আৰু আপোনালোকেও জানে এতিয়া নুমলীগড় ৰিফাইনাৰীত ইথানল প্লেণ্ট যিটো বহি আছে এইটো বেম্বো বেছ ইথানল প্লাণ্ট আৰু বছৰি প্ৰায় 5 লাখ মেট্ৰিক টন বাঁহ দৰকাৰ হ'ব তাত কেঁচা সামগ্ৰী হিচাপে ইয়াক পৰিচালনা কৰিবৰ বাবে প্ৰয়োজন হ'ব গতিকে সেইখিনি বাঁহ যোগান ধৰিবৰ বাবে আমাৰ খেতিয়কসকলে যদি এতিয়াৰ পৰা বাঁহ খেতি কৰে তেতিয়াহ'লে অৰ্থনৈতিকভাৱে লাভান্বিত হ'ব আৰু যিহেতুকে ৱৰ্ল্ড মাৰ্কেটত বাঁহৰ চাহিদা দিনক দিনে বৃদ্ধি পাইছে আমি যেনেধৰণে অসম টিৰ যোগেদি আত্মপ্ৰকাশ কৰি বিশ্ব বজাৰৰ দৃষ্টি আকৰ্ষণ কৰিবলৈ সক্ষম হৈছিলোঁ তেনেধৰণে বাঁহৰ খেতিৰ যোগেদিও আমি বিশ্ব বজাৰত আত্মপ্ৰকাশ কৰিব পাৰোঁ সেই সুযোগটো আমাৰ আছে ইয়াৰ পূৰ্বতে বাঁহৰ ওপৰত ইমান ধ্যান ধাৰণা আমাৰ নাছিল কিন্তু এতিয়া বিজ্ঞানৰ প্ৰযুক্তিৰ দ্বাৰা ভেলু এডিশ্যন ইয়াত মূল্য সংযোজন কৰি বাঁহৰ উৎপাদিত সামগ্ৰীৰ যোগেদি বিশ্ব বজাৰ দখল কৰাৰ বহুত সুবৰ্ণ সুযোগ আছে মই সেইকাৰণে আজি বিশ্ব বাঁহ দিৱসত সকলোকে আহ্বান জনাইছোঁ যে আমাৰ বাঁহ খেতিৰ যোগেদি দুটা লাভ হয় একটো আমি অৰ্থনৈতিকভাৱে স্বাৱলম্বী হ'ব পাৰোঁ উপাৰ্জনৰ পথ নিৰ্দিষ্ট কৰিব পাৰোঁ আৰু আনপিনে আমি আমাৰ যিটো সেউজীয়া বাতাবৰণ সেইটো আমি জীয়াই ৰাখিব পাৰোঁ অৰ্থাৎ আমাৰ বায়ুমণ্ডল বিশুদ্ধ কৰি ৰাখিব পাৰোঁ গতিকে এই সুযোগটো যেন লয় উঠি অহা প্ৰজন্মই সেইবাবে মই তেখেতসকলক আহ্বান জনাইছোঁ
Well, that's the Chief Minister of Assam calling upon all the farmers, urging them, asking them to avail the benefits that the government is providing under the bamboo mission, and also asking them to go out and tap the global market, a $60 billion market out there for the bamboo farmers and all those involved with bamboo production and making products out of bamboo. Now, moving on to some political news, of course, the Assam elections are scheduled to be held sometime next year, and political activity in the state is gaining momentum. We already had a new regional party being announced by ASU and AJYCP. Now there's the Aam Aadmi Party. They too would be contesting the Assam elections next year. And here is what the convener of AAP Assam unit, Bhaven Hendik, had to say. In fact, he mentioned that Delhi Chief Minister and AAP leader Arvind Kejriwal will be in Assam to campaign for the party for the assembly elections. Let's listen in to the AAP convener for Assam.
আমি ঘূৰিছিলোঁ ঘূৰি আমাৰ কৰ্মকৰ্তাসকলক লগ পাইছিলোঁ যে আমাৰ আম আদমি পাৰ্টীৰ কৰ্মকৰ্তা কেনে অৱস্থাত আছে আমি গৈ দেখিলোঁ যে কৰ্মকৰ্তা খুব এক্টিভ হৈ আছে গতিকে আমি উৎসাহিত হ'লোঁ আৰু আমি সিদ্ধান্ত ল'লোঁ যোৱাকালি ৰাতি আহি পেলাই যে আমি ইলেকশ্যনত পাৰ্টিচিপেট কৰিম আৰু আমি যেতিয়া কৰ্মকৰ্তা অভিযান কৰিছোঁ তেতিয়া কিন্তু ৰাইজেও আমাক সহযোগ কৰিছিল বিভিন্ন ঠাইত ৰাস্তাটো আমাক অভিবাদন জনাইছিলে আৰু আনকি এটা কেইবাখনো ঠাইত আমাক প্ৰস্তাৱ কৰি লৈ গৈছিলে আমাৰ মিটিঙৰ থলীলৈকে গতিকে আমি তেতিয়া আৰু উৎসাহিত গতিকে ইয়াৰ পিছত আমি ৰাইজক লগ ধৰি আমি পাৰ্টি সম্পৰ্কে আলোচনা কৰিম আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ মেম্বাৰ আছে আৰু কেইজন মেম্বাৰৰ আমাৰ প্ৰেচিডেণ্ট আৰু ছেক্ৰেটাৰী লগ পাইছে তেওঁলোকে জইন কৰিছে আজি তেওঁলোকৰ ছেক্ৰেটাৰী সহ 5জন লোকে জইন কৰিছে কিন্তু তেওঁলোকৰ প্ৰায় এটাখিনি লোকে আমাৰ লগত জইন কৰিছে আপোনালোকে নিৰ্বাচন এলায়েন্স হ'বৰ কাৰণে সিদ্ধান্ত লোৱা নাই আৰু এলায়েন্স হ'বৰ কাৰণে আমাক প্ৰপ'জেলবিলাক দি আহিছে বেলেগ বেলেগ পাৰ্টিবিলাক তাত খালি কোনো ধৰণৰ ডেভেলপমেণ্টৰ কথা নাই যে আমি কি কৰিম কি পেলাই তেনেকুৱা কথা নাই কিন্তু আমাৰ এটা কামৰ কথা কয় যে আমি স্কুল বনাম বা হস্পিটেল বনাম যি কৰিম আৰু ৰাস্তা বনাম এই ধৰণৰ কথা কোনো প্ৰপ'জেল নাই খালি এটা পাৰ্টি ঘূৰাব কাৰণে আন এটা এলায়েন্স আৰু এতিয়া ভাড়া কৰি আন এটা এলায়েন্স আহিব কাৰণ আমি এতিয়া সিদ্ধান্ত ল'লোহে এয়া আমি দিল্লীলৈ জনাম প্ৰত্যেক খেলি আমি আলোচনা কৰিম আলোচনা কেতিয়া নিবলৈ যাওঁ ডেফিনেটলি আহিব আমি এতিয়া সিদ্ধান্ত লোৱা নাই আমি এতিয়া 86 এছেম্বলি আমি ঘূৰিলোঁ গতিকে এইকেইটা এছেম্বলিত আমি ঠিকে পাইছোঁ তাৰ হয়তো দুটা সিদ্ধান্ত লাভ কৰে আৰু আমাৰ এতিয়া সংগঠনটো ডাঙৰ হৈ গৈ আছে আমি সেইটো সিদ্ধান্তৰ পিছত ল'ম ডেভেলপমেণ্টৰ ৰাজনীতি প্ৰথম কথা কৰাপশ্যন যদি আমি কৰাপশ্যন নাইকিয়া কৰিব পাৰোঁ তেতিয়া ডেভেলপমেণ্ট ডেফিনেটলি হ'ব কৰাপশ্যনে আমাৰ দেশ আমাৰ ৰাজ্যখন শেষ কৰি দিব কৰাপশ্যনটো মেইন ইছ্যু তাত এটেক কৰা হ'ব আৰু ডেফিনেটলি শিক্ষা আৰু স্বাস্থ্যখণ্ড আমাৰ উন্নতি হ'ব লাগে আৰু এইটো বিনামূলীয়া হ'ব লাগে ৰাস্তা ঘাট দলঙৰ কথা আছে আমি ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি প্ৰডিউচ কৰি আমি 24 ঘণ্টা ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি ইমান দামত কিনিব লাগে অসমত কিন্তু দিল্লী ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি প্ৰডিউচ নকৰে বিনামূলীয়াকৈ পায় আৰু 24 ঘণ্টাই পায় এইটো কিয় হৈছে নিশ্চয় কৰাপশ্যনৰ কাৰণে এই সম্পৰ্কে আমি অডিট কৰাম টেগৰ অডিট কৰাম দেখা যাব কি হ'ব ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি বৰ্ডত কি চলি আছে তাৰপিছত আমি একটা সিদ্ধান্ত ল'ম
Well, and finally here we have some more news about the privatization of Indian Railways. Of course, the government has already announced its decision to allow private players, private companies to run very many pairs of trains. Now, there has been a lot of demonstration, a lot of protests against that move of the government. But now what the Railway Board Chairman has said, in fact, speaking to reporters, he said that the government is planning to allow private companies to even fix the passenger fares for the trains that they would be operating. Private players have been given the freedom to fix fares on their own way. That is what V.K. Yadav, chairman of India's Railway Board, told reporters while he was speaking to them. Now, railway fares, of course, are politically sensitive, and over the years, consecutive governments have actually avoided touching the fares, and needless to say, a large number of people use the railways. Therefore, it remains to be seen how exactly this particular decision of the government plays out. In fact, of course, the government has decided on this particular thing, keeping an eye on trying to get more private players into operating or maintaining railways, which has been running into crores of rupees of losses over the years. Railway infrastructure, needless to say, everybody knows it has been a huge, huge struggle for the governments, for consecutive governments over the years to upgrade railway infrastructure. One reason has been that they have not been able to raise passenger fares, and of course, raising freight fares also has been a huge issue as far as Indian Railways has been concerned. But now the government has decided to go ahead with privatization. At least some numbers of trains is going to be run by private operators. And now the decision from the government to allow these private players to also decide the passenger fares for the trains that they would be operating, like I said, remains to be seen how it actually plays out for the government. Well, that's all that I have this evening for all of you viewers. Thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned with all the news and updates. Do log in to sentinelassam.com. That's where we have all the news and updates round the clock, and you will stay updated about news from the state, the region, the nation, and the world. And also find us across social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much once again for joining me. Till we meet again, take care, stay safe. Good night, goodbye.